I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
continues, but no one sees it.
Chief Brody.
The terror continues, but no one believes it.
That's a shark, and I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. And you better do something about this one, because I don't intend to go through that hell again.
After the sensational return of Jaws to the screen, what could possibly be more terrifying than Jaws 2, rated PG. Friday, at theaters everywhere.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And first off, I apologize for the fluctuating lights because of the window over there. Usually I do these videos at night for that reason. But a nice guy named Yule had wanted me to do a commentary and a review of this film. It was a paid request. If anyone wants to send any other paid requests, you can send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. It could be for pretty much any type of video. Feel free. Review, topic, reaction, re-review, anything in between. So this is, of course, a review of Jaws 2. Now, Jaws 2, when the first film came out, Universal said, we want a sequel. Now, Steven Spielberg at the time said, sequels are stupid, it's a carny act, which is funny because he would go on to do stuff like Lost World, Jurassic Park 2, the Indiana Jones sequels, among others. But that's how he felt at the time. Plus, him and Richard Dreyfuss were busy doing Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I can say is a better movie than Jaws 2. Roy Scheider did not want to come back, but he was going to be in The Deer Hunter, and he left, and so that was a big contract no-no. Hey, you said you would do this, you left, when it wasn't the best time, we could sue you, we could do a lot of stuff, but if you do this, bygones be bygones. Roy Scheider still didn't want to do it, but he ultimately did. He did not get along with the director. He's like, I don't know. I don't want to do this movie. But I thought Roy Scheider did a wonderful job and is easily one of the best parts of this movie. Returning as Brody. Now, the first Jaws is, to me, a fantastic film. Jaws, when I worked at a video store years ago, and we could only do PG movies, or G or PG, I would always pop in Jaws. To me, it's a infinitely rewatchable film. The music, the characters, Brody, Hooper, Quint, Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw, all clicked together well. Lightning in a bottle. And because it's lightning in a bottle, whatever you're going to do in a sequel is going to be a step down. I do feel this is a step down. If I think the first Jaws is a 5-star movie, this would be like a 3.5 star film. I don't really do star ratings because if I did it, it'd be wildly inconsistent. But yeah, I guess I could, but you'd be like, wait, that, I mean, it's like, yeah, I know. Just how I feel at the time. So Jaws 2 came about in 1978. Now, sequels were not as big at the time as they are nowadays. In fact, I think this is the first Hollywood sequel to have the actual number 2. Because the few would have a numeral 2, but to have an actual like 2, this is might have been the first Hollywood sequel. So, and it was the most successful sequel at the time until Rocky 2 came out. Now, the guy they got to direct was Jeannot Szwarc. He did this film called Bug, which was an interesting flick. It dealt with bugs that would catch you on fire. Kind of an interesting idea. And later, I believe, would direct Supergirl, the movie. And the action scenes, I thought he handled much better than the characters, other than Roy Scheider. Because the plot of the film, it's years after the first film, and of course there's another shark. Roy Scheider's character's obsessed with this, but no one believes him, yet again. There's even a point where he goes and he thinks he sees it on the beach, and he fires wildly, but it's a school of bluefish. And so ultimately he gets fired, and no one believes him, until a group of kids, including his 2 sons, they all go on like 5 or 6 sailboats. They go out into the water, and shit goes up creek with no fucking paddle. Some get attacked, and then Roy Scheider and them ends up being Roy Scheider by himself, goes up to save those kids, fucks up the shark in a very inventive way. I'll say the way the shark dies in this movie is creative, because there's been a tremendous amount of shark movies. From the first Jaws, then all the rip-offs of Jaws, even films that have like a shark in it for 5 minutes, they use to advertise it to make it seem like it's a killer shark movie because of the success of Jaws. And then you had rip-offs like, or parodies, or comedies, or spoofs, or just flat-out rip-offs like Grizzly, Day of the Animals, Piranha, Kingdom of the Spiders, and more so. A lot of them I enjoy, like Alligator in 1980, awesome movie. Grizzly, it's Jaws but with a bear. I quite enjoyed Grizzly. Kingdom of the Spiders with William Shatner, I enjoy. And there's pretty much any animal that they could make into a killer, they do. Dogs. Years and years later, you had cats with Strays. Birds with Beats the Movie. Granted, that's not fair. You had the Birds, Alfred Hitchcock, before that. But just, pretty much whatever. Worms, they did with Squirm. Slugs. That's a fun film. Pretty gory film, Slugs. Pretty much any animal you could think of, there was a killer. Although I don't know, there's never been a killer kangaroo film. Now that I said that, maybe will someone steal the idea. If you do, at least give me credit. Killer kangaroo movie. Let's have that. Where's the killer fucking kangaroo film? The horror movie version of Kangaroo Jack. But John Williams returned to do the score. And it's a decent score. I don't think it's as strong as the first film. I actually think the score in Jaws 3 I put above this. And this is the thing, like with the Jaws movies, I like Jaws 3. I do. The issue with Jaws 3 to me is they try to make it 3D, and so the effects look bad because it's the 3D stuff. Part of me wishes they didn't do the 3D. Because nowadays, yeah, if you have a 3D TV, sure, but not many people would see Jaws 3 in the theater the way it's intended with the 3D. So in retrospect, Jaws 3 should have just been filmed regularly. That way the shark wouldn't look so bad at the end of the film, for example. But Jaws 3, I like the SeaWorld aspect. I like Dennis Quaid and Bess Armstrong. I even like the dolphins. Yeah, I think the dolphins are cute. I like the score. And yeah, Louis Gossett Jr. Jaws 3, I did a bit more out of personality-wise and fun-wise than this. But I still like that. But at the same time, this is a better technical front, like the shark and the way the action scenes are filmed. I think Jeannot Szwarc, that was his strongest asset, because with some of the attack scenes, it'll be in the water, this POV, and you see her rising up into the surface. There's a point where a person gets grabbed, and we see this person getting dragged along the water towards his boat. And then he grabs the boat. I like the little detail that when he gets pulled down, he rips a piece of the boat off to show that the force that this shark has in pulling this sucker down. There's this scene way before where a water steer gets killed. And then I always thought this was funny. The woman tries to attack it. There's two people, one in the boat, one's a water steer. Water steer gets killed. The woman on the boat, I guess she was trying to pour gasoline on it, but she pours it on herself. And then she doesn't know how to shoot a fucking flare, so she blows herself up. It's a good explosion, but it just made me laugh with how stupid that person was. I know that wasn't the intention, but I still laughed. I laughed in the fucker's face. Roy Scheider is definitely one of the biggest pluses of it, because I enjoy him as an actor, whether it be in the first film, Blue Thunder, 2010, the year we made contact, even in the 2004 Punisher film. I've always enjoyed Roy Scheider. I think he's an underrated, solid actor. May he rest in peace. And for a guy who didn't want to do the film, he doesn't seem like he's sleepwalking. Not in the bit. He has some fun rapport with his wife, played by Lorraine, who's in the first film, and then would be the star of Jaws 4. That piece of shit. And again, he's either some fun banter with her, or he's trying to do the best he can with the job, and then showing his obsession, and no one believes him, but he's like, listen, I've been face to face with a shark. I don't want to go through that again. And then to get to the point where he gets fired, and him getting drunk, and what his wife going, man, I've never been fired before. I mean, yeah, maybe when I was 17, but from a real career, man, 4 years down the tube. Like, Roy Scheider, I thought, for a guy who's at his wit's end trying to convince people, which I'm like, it shouldn't be that fucking hard to convince these folks. You had a shark before. Give him a little leap of faith. I do think, in retrospect, they could have gone even deeper with the character. I think it would have been interesting to see the character go through PTSD. Kind of what they would later do with Ripley in Aliens. Because you remember in that film, she wakes up from nightmares. She wants to have this catharsis to get over her PTSD. That's why she goes back. One of the reasons she goes back to with the Marines. Granted, this was before Aliens, but I could imagine after the events of the first film, maybe he's not a cop anymore, or maybe he's a cop, he's a bit shaky, or he's having nightmares, and then by the end, this catharsis of confronted this other shark, a demon head-on yet again. Maybe the catharsis to finally wake him up and move on from it, deal with it. I think there's even more you could have done with it. But what Roy Scheider has, I think very solid in his acting chops. I thought Jeannot Szwarc did a nice job during the action scenes. Even the little jump scare moment where Roy Scheider goes to the water, there's a piece of a boat, as he tips it, this dead body falls on him. I didn't mind the way that was shot. Even during the third act where the shark is attacking all the kids on the sailboat, and you have this bit where they're trying to get a kid on the boat, and the shark goes along the side of the boat with his mouth up. The way that was directed, not bad. The only issue with that moment is you see one side of the mouth kind of bend a little bit, kind of like it's here, but then this weird like bent thing on the corner of the mouth, kind of on this side. But then, I do think the director made the right choice to show the shark more, because I understand his reasoning. We've seen the shark in the first film. You can't go to the well again and to be like, we're going to keep it hidden. We don't keep it hidden. Because people are not scared. Because they've already seen the first film. They know what it looks like. They know what the effects look like. I mean, maybe after... I don't know. I mean, you have to be really, really, really good at your job to pull that off again. And I don't think there's a lot of people that are good at that. So, okay, go the opposite route. Show the creature a bit more. Predator 2. I thought that was the right call. The first Predator, you don't see a lot of it. It's a build-up. Predator 2, fuck it. We've seen the Predator. We know what it is. Boom, the Predator 2, Jamaican gang members. One of the many reasons why I love Predator 2. Granted, aliens is a slow build, but when we get to it, there's a ton of aliens. Aliens here, aliens there. I thought that was the right decision. So you're not doing a carbon copy of the first film. It's still being your own. And I don't think the film looked cheap. I know a lot of people keep saying the shark in these movies looked fake. The shark always looked fine to me. Maybe because I don't see a lot of sharks in real life. Maybe because I don't know how you would make... I don't know, it just looks fine to me. It always looked fine to me. If I want a fake-looking shark, I go to the Sci-Fi Channel horrible CGI abomination movies. Or shit like Sharknado. Which I'm not my cup of tea. But again, I would say the issue with the film, sadly, the big issue is Roy Scheider's good, but you don't have Richard Dreyfuss. Of course, you don't have Robert Shaw because the character died in the first film. And I'm sorry, these teen characters you just don't care about. And that's the biggest issue. Like, the director has a tendency to shoot these scenes with a sailboat. Must have loved sailboats, but you know what? After a little bit, it gets tiring to just see sailboats and a montage of sailboats. It's cool for a minute or two, but then it gets tedious and repetitive. And the teen characters... It's not that I hate the characters. There's a difference between hating and not caring. Not caring means I'm just indifferent. I just don't care. It's not like these characters are unlikable. There was a film I reviewed, and it was a movie that came out a few years ago, but I reviewed it a month or two ago called Beneath. Those are horrible characters. Here, there's a bunch of them, and I can't tell you anything about them. One is Chief Gordon, because I recognize him from John Carpenter's Christine, and he played Rodney Dangerfield's son in Back to School. But, you know, the girl here, the guy with green sleeves, a guy with a hat, a guy with a white shirt, a guy with glasses, and there's one scene with Chief Gordon says, she's looking at you. Nah, I'm thin and I got glasses. I said, all we know about the characters. Great. That one bit. There's too many of these characters, and there's no depth to any of them. I think that's why some people say this is like a Friday the 13th film. And then you have the shark, which I like this. The shark gets burned, and then half his face is scarred, kind of like Freddy Krueger. So I like that aspect. But even with Friday the 13th film, even that gives you the... If that's what you want, they give you the carnage. If the MPA doesn't kill it. But here, you don't even... Like, you don't care about the characters, so you look at them as cannon fodder. But then you don't even get the cannon fodder, because of the kids, only really one of them dies. The rest make it out just fine. And you either give me the cannon fodder and the blood, but they're not going to do that because they still wanted a PG rating. And if they had more body count, let alone blood, they would not have the PG rating anymore. And they desperately needed it. Because this is the time there was no PG-13. It was PG or it's R. And they were not going for an R. And I think honestly it would have been better if it was a rated R. They would never do it. I'm just saying rated R I think would have been cool to see. Make it even more different compared to the first film. I'm surprised none of them were rated R. Like, they didn't, even when they get to Jaws 4, fuck it, make it rated R. No, I just, it's not like we consider Jaws family pictures. So, again, Jaws 2, I just they figure PG will help create the box office. And this was still successful. Not as successful as the first film, but it was still successful. The box was made like over $100 million at least, so that's they made Jaws 3 and then Jaws 4. But yeah, the teen characters, you just don't care about them. There's really nothing to... Okay, here's this lady. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? Wait, who's this guy? Wait, who's that guy? I'm like, all I can describe them is what they were wearing and what they looked like. But if you're going to quiz me, name 2 things about each of the characters, but don't say what they look like, I can't tell you. I fail. I fail that quiz. F on F scale fuck. I did an F. And that is, I think, the big detriment of the film. And that's why I'm not sure if I like this more or less than Jaws 3, because Jaws 3 is a step down technical-wise, because they had to do the fucking 3D. But I like the musical score in Jaws 3 a bit more than this, and I like the characters more. I like Dennis Quaid. I like Bess Armstrong. The fucking dolphins have more character than these teen characters. The fucking dolphins in Jaws 3 have more of a character and character arc than the fucking teen characters in this. And I'm not even being facetious or hyperbolic. I really do mean that. Jaws 3's dolphins has more character than these teen characters. Chief Gordon, I just know him because he's been in other movies. The acting's not the problem. It's just, there's nothing to them. So then you just don't care. You're just waiting for the shark to arrive. Like Roy Scheider, the shark, and his action scenes are the 2 primary positives of the film. And like the shark, when you have an action scene where it pulls down an entire fucking helicopter, and the tail, the rotor, it breaks apart and breaks upon the sails of the kids and their boats. That's an effective action sequence. Wow, this shark's badass. He's got his face burned up and pulls an entire helicopter down. It's all done in camera, on the screen for you. No CGI, well before that day of CGI. So again, the action scenes are fun to watch. The shark making a burn gave it a little bit different, unique look to it. The way the shark dies, where if Roy Scheider fries it, because it's his power line. Granted, I don't know if Roy Scheider's character would be fried as well. Like, wouldn't Roy Scheider be electrocuted as well? Well, he's on a boat. Yeah, no, but it's still a power line, and he's still on the water, but whatever. It's a movie. But with how many times you see a shark get blown up, it was, again, interesting to see a bit different death of your villain get fried. I thought it looked kind of cool, too. And, they don't do anything to give a disservice to Brody, Roy Scheider's character. Lorraine Derry does find Murray Hamilton. He disappears because they had to shoot him real quick because his wife was having a biopsy. But thankfully his wife was fine, but sadly soon after Murray Hamilton passed away. So they had to shoot his scenes rather quickly. So he doesn't have a whole lot to do in this, sad to say. Lorraine Derry, she plays the wife. She's fine. Yeah, there's really not much to tell about that. And like I said, John Williams, his score is fine. I do think his score in the first movie is better. And again, I like the music in the third one better. Or even the score at the end of the film, the end credits. I'm doing a shitty job of it, but that's what I mean. Like, and the story of being in SeaWorld is kind of a more fun idea for me than wrecking havoc in SeaWorld. A bunch of sailboaters I don't care about. So again, that's why I'm not sure. Like, Jaws 3 has the better, I think, characters. Well, I can't say that because Roy Scheider is really good in this. Like, this is a better lead. So again, I'm in between which I like more, Jaws 2 or Jaws 3. I know most will say Jaws 2, but for me, it's like, I'm not sure. Like, Jaws 3 does have some positives as well. I don't think it's as bad. I do think Jaws 2 are underrated. Just Jaws 2, it gets some hate, but there's some people like, yeah, it's not a bad movie. Especially compared to Jaws 3 and 4. I'm like, well, Jaws 3 is really not that bad. Like, if you somehow went in and fixed the effects of the 3D, I don't think it would be looked at as bad as it is. That's just my take on it. But yeah, Jaws 2, like I said, Roy Scheider and the shark, the action scenes like the helicopter being pulled down, definite positives. The big negative, the teen characters, we spend so much time seeing them, but that time's not really put into developing them. And again, there were so many. I'm like, that's another thing. There should have been a bigger body count. Again, they probably did it because they did not do it because it would change the rating. To keep the menace of the shark alive, because there's so many people here, and the shark's not killing anybody. And to me, it loses a bit of the menace. Like, there's a point where Roy Scheider sees his younger son and this hysterical girl, and that's where he finds the power line. He gets the idea as a distraction. Divert your attention over here, Mr. Shark. I'm thinking, well, if the shark kills the hysterical lady, oh my god, it killed her. Maybe it's going to kill the son. Oh, but then he's diverting the attention. That's what I mean. You keep the anxiety, the suspense, the menace alive with the shark, but when it's not killing anybody, I did kill one person, but then the other 12 get away perfectly fine. It's like, okay, you kind of sucked at your job, shark. You suck ass at your job. You should be fired. Well, Roy Scheider just fired your ass. Literally fired, fried your ass. You're fried. So again, just stuff like that made me come to mind. But yeah, I like the Roy Scheider. The character's obsessed. People look at him as he's crazy. Again, I'm thinking, why do you think he's so crazy? Give him a little bit of leniency. You had a shark before. I even didn't mind the bit where you had an orca, a killer whale on the beach and is eaten up, and I didn't mind the way it looked. And I'm like, yeah, that looks... Oh, we don't know if a shark did this. Then who the fuck do you think did this? Aquaman? Maybe Aquaman was hungry and ate most of the fucking orca's ass. Aquaman got hungry. Jason Mamma Mia decided to eat. But anyway, with all that said, I do like the sequel. I think it's a decent sequel. I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's a flawed film. I wish the teen character either limit the amount of them so you could develop some, or if you don't have so much, be more of a slobber knocker, cannon fodder, carnage fest. One or the other. Develop the characters more, or at all, or be a carnage slobber knocker, like Friday the 13th. And even Friday the 13th films have developed characters more, like Friday the 13th Part 4 Final Chapter, Crispin Glover and his buddy. The computer says you're a dead fuck. The computer don't lie. I mean, even that developed the characters more than the teen characters in this. So I didn't watch it again. That was definitely the biggest flaw for me. But still, I had fun with the shark. Roy Scheider. It's well shot. John Williams' score is still pretty decent. And the underwater photography, the way they used the shark and the effects of the shark for the time, I thought was handled fairly well for the time. And overall, still a decent flick. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.